Welcome back to Colorado's Best. The easiest way to help a loved one through Alzheimer's or any long-term disease is to have a plan early. It's important to do it while everyone can still make good decisions, but there are a lot of legal issues to consider. Here to help us understand all of that is Kathleen Negri. She is an elder law attorney. The first question I'm going to ask you is, what is an elder law attorney?
An elder law attorney is someone who specializes in helping families deal with issues of aging and disability. We work with all different types of clients, typically a client who might have been diagnosed with a long-term illness, and what we do is help the family, help the caregiver understand a plan to move forward with the financial issues that you have to think about for paying for long-term care, with the legal issues, getting all of the documents in place, powers of attorney, estate plans, that kind of information, looking at a plan for placement. How am I going to age, and who's going to help me age, and what kinds of level of care will I need, helping with tax issues, helping with housing issues. So it's a very holistic approach to helping families and caregivers deal with a long-term illness.
Yeah, so much to think about. So it's not only Alzheimer's, which is what we're talking about today, but any long-term illness when it comes to that.
Yes, and it can be a physical illness such that I'm no longer able to walk or take care of my physical needs. It could be a cognitive impairment. It could be both. So it's not just limited to dementia or Alzheimer's disease at all, any type of long-term plan. And really a lot of the things that we do, everyone needs, powers of attorney, estate plans, everyone needs this type of information.
So when does a family know that it's time to contact an elder law attorney?
Well, that's a hard one. Objectively, one would say once there's a diagnosis of a long-term illness, once you have a diagnosis of dementia or Alzheimer's, is a good time to get started. Anytime you see different behavior in a parent, something that doesn't feel right, excessive spending or excessive isolation, this is such a great time of year to be having this conversation, because oftentimes kids come home from being away and see their parent and see a lot of changes in the parent.
Yeah, I remember having this conversation with my dad a couple years ago. He doesn't have any long-term illness, but really just when you're sitting down with them is the time to really start talking about the realities.
Before the crisis, before the crisis, yes.
So what is the best way to find an elder law attorney?
In my experience, the best way to find an elder law attorney is to ask your friends. Fully 50% of Americans know someone with Alzheimer's disease or with dementia. This is an issue affecting a lot of families. Talk to your friends, talk to your church, find referrals. That's the best way, and that's the way that I get my clients, is through client referrals, attorney referrals.
All right, they're bringing up a full-screen graphic of your book here. You have personal experience with this.
I do.
And you wrote a book called Mom, Are You There? Your mom suffered of Alzheimer's?
Yes, my mother was diagnosed in 2001 with Alzheimer's disease and died in 2004. But I think we all think she fully had it since about 1997. So it's about a 7 or 8 year journey for my mother.
And you said it was actually a beautiful experience for you and your family.
Yes, it was. My mother was a very professional mother. She took care of us, she kept us clean and fed, and did a very good job of that. She wasn't so much good in the affection area. And so when this disease process started for her, her personality completely changed and opened up to a wonderful, loving mother. And I think if I hadn't spent the time with her that I did every Tuesday morning for 3 years, I wouldn't have known that she loved me. This disease really opened her up affectionately.
That is really neat. That's beautiful. And the way that you wrote this book is you have a lot of areas where people can write down their feelings, because Alzheimer's is not only about the person going through it, but the entire family.
Exactly. It's what you need to do as a person to be able to accompany your loved one through this journey so that you can make it a journey and you can find some of the gifts. So we talk about in the book how to find the information that you need, the legal information, financial information, how to prepare yourself for the journey, really looking inward and deciding what it is you want to think about this journey, how you want this to be for yourself, and then finally really making yourself available to those gifts, being present in the moment, leaving your agenda behind, and listening to what your loved one has to offer you in this new place of dementia.
Well, not only do you have personal experience, but you spent a year in Washington, D.C. working on healthcare reform. How has that kind of helped shape your career?
Wow, I did. I had an opportunity to spend a year in Washington, D.C. as a health and aging policy congressional fellow. I was actually in the caucus room of the Democratic Party listening to the dialogue between the House and the Senate on health care reform, and also had a chance to work with 2 policy organizations on elder exploitation. The message I brought home is that we as a nation need to do better to meet the senior and the disabled person's desire to live and die and age and be in their communities and in their homes, and to develop develop meaningful models of long-term care in the community. And that's really where my focus has been in my practice, and what I hope to do as I move forward to work with Colorado, with our healthcare reform, with long-term care and aging policy would be a wonderful way for me to take my experience forward.
Well, you are a wealth of information, and I'm certainly going to take a look at this book, because sooner or later all of us confront this in one way or another.
Right.
You know.
Yes, great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kathleen. Well, Kathleen would like to do something for Colorado's best viewers. The first 5 callers will receive a free half-hour phone consultation and a copy of her book, Mom, Are You There? To reach Kathleen, call her at 303-343-2994. Thanks so much.
Great. Thank you.
Well, most people living with Alzheimer's still want to